Perfect. So we are live on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. We have 3 build projects joining us today for this Block Magic Hackathon workshop. So it's a great opportunity to learn more about these build projects, to discover what they are building, and maybe how you can learn from them for your own projects. Just feel free to share in the comments where you're from. It's always great to see who's joining us today. And the call will be recorded, so excited to see the comments even after the call. Perfect. So thanks for joining us, guys. I saw Rafa, Joao, and Balendu in the chat. Really cool to have you here. Let's maybe start with the small introduction, just maybe to learn more about you personally. And then we can talk a little bit about your project. So maybe I will start with you, Gab. If you can introduce yourself in a few words.
All right. So first of all, thanks for the invitation. Very happy to be here. So my name is Gail Bokongo, but people call me Gab because faster. I've been in the Web3 since 2017, 2018, 2017. Prior to that, I was a stock exchange trader. I traded gas and oil for about a decade. And before that, I graduated from the University of Minnesota in financial math. I got a PhD on it. So yeah, that's much about me and about my team. We a team of 4 basically, 3 developers, me included, and one business developer, and we created Moopay. So I don't know if you want to hear about it right now, but I can come back to it so and explain a bit more.
Yeah, we can come back to you a little bit later to learn more about what you're building. I saw that we have some Mind Networks fan in the chat, so I let you, Christian, introduce yourself.
Sounds good. Yeah, again, thanks for having us. So I'm Christian. I'm on the founding team here at Mind Network, head of BD and marketing. I was in medical technology, working for Fortune 300s and startups alike for about a dozen years. So in operating rooms, helping doctors perform surgery, and just kind of I got orange pilled, I guess, and you'd say 2017, and tried to find my way into crypto by trying to build out blockchain backends for some of the medical device companies I was working for. And eventually one of those crypto companies said, hey, you should just come into crypto full time. So I've been here since about 2020. And my background is largely BD, marketing, PR, sales, that kind of work mostly. So no PhD in math. Those guys are the real heroes. Definitely look up to you. Our team is 15 full-time currently, and we have 5 PhDs. And so I'm a student every day.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's crazy. And what about you, Pedro?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here with such big brains. For my background, I've been working full-time in the crypto industry as a blockchain engineer over the last 5 years. At my previous job before Zaros, I used to lead Illuvium's blockchain team. So Illuvium is a GameFi studio and DeFi protocol as well. So I was responsible mainly by managing the infrastructure development and creating the smart contracts responsible for the DAO and the staking and DeFi, Illuvium's DeFi ecosystem as a whole. I decided to found Zaros with Guy, my co-founder, which is not here today, because we've always been quite passionate about DeFi since, like after the ICO boom in 2017, 18, when we started having the first real world applications being developed, like MakerDAO, Compound, Haven, which became Synthetics. And we believed with the new blockchains being born with the L2 technology and being able to scale applications to a larger user base with lower gas costs, it would be a great opportunity to start building applications that require more complex and intensive computation. So we decided to found Zaros, which is a perpetual DEX, mainly powered by liquid staking and restaking tokens, real live on Arbitrum. And we are, of course, powered by most of the Chainlink stack, like data streams, automation, data feeds. And our vision is to bring users from CeFi, so from centralized exchanges and other, centralized financial applications, to DeFi with a smooth user experience and lower costs comparing to other types of apps.
Awesome, yeah. And Christian, can you talk a little bit more about Mind Network and what you try to achieve in your own industry?
Sure. Yeah. So Mind Network is an FHE project. So fully homomorphic encryption has been long considered the holy grail of cryptography. It's the ability to run compute on encrypted data without decrypting it. It's been around in theory since the 70s. Sorry. Call coming through here. It's been around in theory since the 70s. It wasn't until about around 2009 that it was finally applied. And so it's only been in crypto for the last couple of years. And there are specific places in the tech stack that you can apply. You can create a shared private state for data where it's fast enough to work with smart contracts and blockchains. So Mind Network is one of a handful of companies bringing FHE into crypto.
Awesome, yeah. And Gab, MuPay, it's in another industry.
So it's more of like I said, my background was mostly in stock exchange trading, and just to give you a background, so basically I used to trade gas, and ironically, you cannot mix every gas because gas is really a commodity that's geopolitics, linked to geopolitics. So like you cannot just mix like Turkish gas and French gas and then send it to US, for example. But some technically we was able to do so, and I kind of find myself in the same situation with crypto when I'm like, okay, well, there's so many tokens, but I cannot just like have USDC on this portfolio and USDC on this blockchain and just send them at the same time. Like, why? It's so complicated. Why is there so many wallets on so many blockchain, and I cannot just aggregate or at least be flexible to just merge them to send it to one guy, to one wallet. And that's how I started. And from that point, I was like, well, what if I create a protocol that actually could connect to every, bridges and dexes, and I could create multi-token swap. And from that, not just being multi-chain, but cross-chain in not only a wallet, but a protocol. And that's how I started, mostly in 2021, because I was doing tokenomics with other guys, and I was like, well, that's stupid. Like if you had this SDK, we could accept every tokens and not have people bridge or using dexes or sexes, and that's why we were like, okay, well, I think I'm able to create something where you can have sex, dex, and mix every tokens that you got for the token that you need. And that's how we created MuPay. Basically, it's a cross-chain multi-token aggregator where this plugged to 100 bridges and dexes and can actually merge tokens from any wallets and on any blockchain.
Awesome. Yeah, that's why I love these calls, because you are all using the same technology in different kind of industries. And that's really interesting to be able to have like 3 big projects doing something really different, but at the end using the same tools. You already touched a little bit about that, but how the blockchain technology help you to improve the existing industry? What are the biggest improvements with this technology? We can maybe start with you, Pedro.
Sure. So when we are speaking about DeFi and decentralized exchanges, I think there's a huge impact brought by blockchains, and it's kind of a low-hanging fruit when we are speaking about problems that blockchains can solve and do better than centralized solutions. As everyone is aware, we've had the FTX issue in 2022, and not only FTX, but we see like centralized exchanges having issues of transparency or simply doing wrong things that cannot be transparently audited all the time. So every year we have new centralized solutions being exploited or using the wrong way. And I think DeFi with blockchain technology and the right tools, because you need to really like be selective when you're using, selecting your stack when you talk about blockchain, because you cannot have a single centralized point of failures. Otherwise, you fall into the same category that centralized exchanges and centralized applications usually fail. And with DeFi, of course, number one trivial benefit that blockchains and decentralization brings is being able to be your own custodial. So you have the ability to keep yourself custodial while trading, be simply swaps or trading spot positions, or even like more complex like margin portfolio management with perpetual positions, trading options. So that's really powerful, and that's a powerful benefit that blockchains bring. Of course, in order to have those features, you need proper access to high quality, low latency data, like we have with using Chainlink tools. You need to have a lower gas cost environment, and that's something that we are starting to achieve as an ecosystem today. After EAP 4844, like we have like super complex transactions nowadays. And then like some benefits that are not often talked about, which are not necessarily linked to like transparency and decentralization and having a self-custody, is the composability that blockchains bring, since you're able to have all of the applications in this shared state. That means like it's not like in Web 2 where you need to take permission like from a centralized entity to get API keys and start doing integrations. Everything is permissionless, everything is open source, at least to some degree. And that means like novel financial primitives can be built and iterated like much more quickly. And that's why I believe that using apps today, like we have the right infra. We have Chainlink, we have like many amazing projects into production, and with like lots of users and real world battle tested use cases. And we need to start building the apps now. So that's why we decided to build Zaros as a DeFi super app. So our goal is we're starting with perps, but our goal is to have everything that you can do on like Binance, Bybit, and top major centralized exchanges on a decentralized powered UI. So all of the engines that we've been building are powered by smart contracts, decentralized infrastructure, but you can use it just like using, we will get there, but the goal is to get into a level where UX is just like using any centralized exchange.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I really love this open source thing and how the projects work together. It's not like a competition between all the projects, but it's trying to focus on something, using some other projects, and that's how we grow and how we improve this industry. How about you, Christian, about My Network? How the blockchain helped you to improve the industry?
Well, so there's a zoomed out way of looking at privacy and security, then there's a zoomed in way. So we'll start with the zoomed out 10,000 foot view. If Web 2 became Web 3 tomorrow, all of your data would be on public chains. Think of your app subscriptions, think of your groceries, your phones, all of this would be pseudonymous, but it's not very difficult to tie a wallet to an email address these days. Bad actors are doing it all the time. So that's the big zoomed out solution, is like we need, FHE is the most robust solution that's available so far to just create a standard of privacy and security in Web3. So that was our thesis at the beginning, and everybody is I think acknowledges that. If you've been in crypto for 6 or 7 years, you've got a series of wallets, and there's a lot of data in those wallets. There's geolocational data, there's financial transactions. Somebody can look at the art or the NFTs you own and make a stab at what your wealth is, your net worth is, and see if you're a good target to go after. So we need a better level of privacy and security in Web3. That's pretty much agreed upon. And then when you look at, well, let's zoom in on specific areas in Web3 where blockchains and smart contracts need to have some privacy in the tech stack. So we've identified a couple of areas where privacy can live in terms of securing data. So one of those areas is consensus node at the consensus layer. So a node in small like Bootstrap L1s or L2s that are just starting, typically you'll see them have 20, 30, 40 validator nodes. These are usually trusted, right? They're friends or they're investors. As you bring developers and use case to the chains, then you can start to incentivize better actors to come in and run the nodes. But you have this really vulnerable period in the beginning where a bad actor can really cause havoc. So that one of the attack vectors is that if the nodes are broadcasting their results publicly, if they're broadcasting those results to the chain, everybody else can see them. You have other nodes that can copy, that might want to reduce their own compute costs, but still earn tokens for validating the network. So if you can encrypt that data, the consensus data, create a shared private state, which you can do with FHE, you now reduce one of the attack vectors for decentralizing. So this is a zoomed in use case where we can use FHE to actually kind of be a laser and help bootstrap decentralization. There's kind of this constant centralization force we're seeing even in crypto. Every time a new solution pops up, whether it's a prover or a sequencer, you now have a new bottleneck of potential centralization. So every new solution that we make, every new layer now requires a whole new solution set for keeping decentralization. And one of the ways that you can help to keep networks decentralized is by adding encryption, creating a shared private state for consensus. Another area that we found is really helpful is in smart contracts, blockchains, as it relates to AI. So usually in AI networks, you have a relationship between miners and validators. So miners will produce models, validators verify those models. You can think of like BitTensor as an example. So BitTensor and a lot of these other AI networks have done a great job in creating a decentralized version of these Web2 incumbents. And they're solving things like the compute problem. Centralized AI companies have a huge problem finding enough compute, right? And so it's basically a handful of AI companies that are making sweetheart deals with NVIDIA to get the chips. But if you could decentralize this, not only do you decentralize the economic rewards, so they're not just going to a handful of companies, they can go to a number of small businesses, small startups in crypto, maybe individual users. But you're allowing for the decentralization of truth, what truth is, because the biases in models spit out what truth is when people are using things like a decentralized or using an LLM. It's like the answers you get back have a filter around them. So we should have more than just one company deciding what is truth and what those biases are. So blockchains and smart contracts are fantastic at that. But here's the problem. We have to find a way to keep those networks secure. So the example in AI networks is that because it's so expensive to be a validator, it's often advantageous to stake the tokens required, but then copy a lead validator's output. So when a lead validator verifies a model, instead of me running the compute and wasting my energy, I'll just copy what the other validator did. That way I still get the token rewards without having to expend as much energy, as much cost. So again, if we can encrypt this, then we can keep the network decentralized. If you have all the validators copying one validator, that's essentially a centralized network, right? So again, this is a lasered example of where we can bring FHE in a decentralized environment to help keep it decentralized.
Awesome, yeah, really interesting. Thanks for the explanation. About you, Gab, you said already before that you were working in this Web2 industry before.
Yes.
Different with the blockchain industry and technology.
So mine is really, like I said, it was really financial and oriented since I was a trader for a decade. Like basically, one thing that stood out, and I think it's Pedro that said that, is be able to compose and get a value. So here's the deal: like what blockchain, like the financial business, is work in silos. Like there's a lot of stuff that you cannot do. Let's say, for example, like okay, I got some cash and I got a car and I got, I don't know, option on a house, and they all worth 1 million, you know. And if I want to buy something for 1 million, I cannot just swap all this value and just and be like, okay, that's 1 million. However, using the blockchain, you can compose this like this with the asset that you have and get a value. For example, I talked to you about having like multi-token, and that comes to a value. But we can also have like crush and stacking and crush and lending, and all these come to certain value. And let's say like you get to 200K because with all the asset that you have 200K. Basically, what the protocol can do right now, as not right now, but like that's where we're going for, is like be able to have like, okay, well, you have like those 5 NFT based on this value, and how much you got with those tokens, and how much you got as asset on stacking and stuff like that comes to 200K. You can have it, swap it in one click. Because why? Because this is, that's what you're able to do now. You not only, people say, yeah, the only problem I see with blockchain is like it's decentralized, but it's not flexible. And this lack of flexibility is actually something that I'm really keen on, because I'm like, okay, when I was a trader in Web2, I still have flexibility to use this currency or this currency, and using the FX forex, and be like, okay, well, I can play on that, and like being flexible and playing with different words, but in the same universe. Right now that's not possible, and even though blockchain brings a lot, because you still own your own asset, you still own, and like your privacy is yours, and there's still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of work to There's still a lot of stuff to build, and blockchain is fascinated for me right now, because I'm like, okay, well, it's not every day that you can create a different economy. Like, people like, I've worked on so many different tokenomics, because I create a lot of tokenomics with people. And it's so funny to me, because in real life, like, another country is not going to pop up and be like, hey, you know what, let's create a new economy, like, let's make things differently. And as I'm not an economist, but I work with them a lot, and blockchain also give you this ability to create a new economy, which things that we're so settled on the ground right now with Web2, that we're not able to just create something new. Like, you can destroy Western economy and be like, you know what, this doesn't work. Let's pack up thing and just do another type of currency, and another worldwide money, and we'd be okay. No, it's impossible. You come with history and environment, and with the blockchain it's different. Like, okay, you know what, I can create another word in a different universe and create a different economy, and that's what also is fascinating for me.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys just want to jump and interact with one of you, just feel free to jump. If you guys in the chat, you have any questions, feel free to comment. We have some time to answer your question at the end of this call. Pedro, you already said a little bit about the Chainlink services that you use, but I would be happy to learn more which services Zaros is using, and for which kind of purpose.
Sure. So the main service we use from Chainlink is Chainlink Data Streams. It's really powerful for our use case, since we need, first, high quality price data. We need to know the bid and ask spreads and the median prices, so that we're able to offer the best source for our market making engine. And then we also use data feeds in some cases for evaluating margin collaterals, so that we are able to support like multiple collateral types. The user trading accounts portfolio, so that they can hedge their positions against their perpetual swaps. But we are also starting to transition to use data streams in an end-to-end flow. So it will be likely, it's hard to say this thing like the first, but at least one of the first perpetual DEXs where we always use low latency prices. We don't settle like matching with an index price and doing a median value. We will always use data streams. So not for operations like evaluating the margin collateral, as I mentioned, for settling orders, for liquidations. All of these operations will be powered by data streams prices. We also use Chainlink automation, so that we can offload a lot of the heavy work we would need to build in our own backend to the Chainlink network. And that also brings an extra degree of reliability, so that we can ensure that even during highly stressed market periods, or like either the chain is congested or there's a high volatility period, with Chainlink's track record, we can sleep well and make sure that our orders are always being executed. this combination of using Chainlink automation and data streams is called streams trade. But we also have our own backend service for custom orders like limit orders, stop loss, take profit, conditional orders, so that we can, provide an extra degree in the trade for the traders' experience. I think I mentioned all of them: data feeds, data streams, automation. We were also exploring some use cases with functions. This is parked for now, but I won't spoil too much. But what we'll be doing, but we do have plans on using Chainlink functions in the future.
Yeah, excited to learn what you want to do with functions, and really exciting to have your feedback on data stream, because I really love this service, and it's really powerful in the DeFi industry.
Yeah, function is actually nice. We use function, and it's quite interesting because we use function and obviously the CCIP, and it's interesting because we use function as a oracle based and what we do is like a consensus of oracle where we use function against other oracles, and so we have like a matrix of correlation with different data, which is kind of interesting because function being so big and large, you're able to compare and kind of create a risk metric, what we call. So there's different metric that we use in trading, and one is called VAR, value at risk. You guys probably know about it. And using the value at risk, you can create what we call parametric VAR. And the parametric VAR is interesting because using function with all the data and using other oracles that exist, you'd be like, okay, now the consensus that we can have for the data could be this much. We take a mean. So that's how we use function. And on the CCIP, we actually use it as a layer of route because it's a multi-routing protocol that we create. So the CCIP is one of the routes that we can use most of the time, the most secure because of the burn and mint mechanism. But yeah, it's those are the two services that we use the most for now.
Awesome. Yeah. With functions, you can create kind of any links you want between the real world and the blockchain, and
Exactly,
it just depends on
it's really powerful.
Yeah,
it is powerful.
It depends on what you need.
The only, I will say, not downside, but when you use a protocol that's like open source, is who pay for functions when you run it. You know what I'm saying? In your price or your business model, this is why we did not figure out yet to have it cheap for the users and cheap for us, but still come up okay in the business model. That's where you're okay, it's great as a tool, but how business-wise can we use it to make an impact on the fronts?
Yeah, it's always tricky to find the balance between where you as a project have to pay some fees as infrastructure
that
this
is hard. We had a similar issue at Zaros. We solved this we run tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of simulations where we can expect the average cost, and we set a default fee pegged to USD, which has a slight premium, so we ensure that the operations are always healthy. And then we abstract away the complexity of handling the link payments on our side. At least that's what we were planning on doing for V1.
Yeah, but that's tricky, right? Because you
you
don't know you don't know if your user are willing to pay that much for these services. You have to ask them, and it gets into it's in a way it's good because now you're okay, guys, this is what we got. What do you think we should do about it? You guys are ready to use it for this? It's a discussion with the users, but at first you're yeah, that's a great tool, but who's gonna pay? It's pretty much how it landed out in my head.
If it's useful, someone's got to pay for it.
Right, yeah. But who it is though? You want to use powerful tools that make sense, but you don't want to also just use it to use it. You still got to make a business out of it.
Agreed.
Yeah, you always want to be the cheapest one for your users, and you have to find the right balance to be able to continue in the long term. And how about you, Christian?
Yeah, we've engaged mostly with CCIP. I'll give a shout out real quick to Build. I know we're all Build members. Build for us has been so helpful, super engaged. We love the team. Zai and Chris and Sam have all been, I mean, we've attracted capital through being a Build member. We've built with other Build projects that are doing really cool things. I could probably have a call with Pedro after this and we could do some BD together as well. Because Zaros is doing something that could, so it's like, you know, you just keep discovering, and Build is adding members all the time. So it's been a really cool kind of club to be a part of. So shout out to Build. But CCIP, that product really, we found a shared vision there, which is a multi-chain world, which we really believe in. There's going to be thousands and thousands of chains. There'll be private, there'll be bank coins, private chains, public chains. We're seeing a lot of the RWA activities happening on private chains. We have to bring that into the public chain world at some point. If those chains want real liquidity, they're going to have to tap Ethereum ecosystem and Solana and et cetera. So we really see CCIP as a critical solution. And so, you know, being a Build member and hearing that was going on over the summer, we found a really cool way to work there. So with FHE, again, creating a shared private state where you can encrypt the data and you don't ever need to decrypt it. There's an intent layer that lives on top of bridges. And this is true for any bridge. And it's usually an attack vector. So if the nodes that are running a bridge can see the transaction, which goes out of the intent layer. So before Pedro sends me 1 million ETH or whatever, if we're going cross chain, the bridge is going to see that trade first and the nodes have to basically verify it, right? So this is always an attack vector because there's front running capability here. One of the nodes can see this trade and then take advantage of price arbitrage or whatever. So we found a way to basically encrypt that messaging layer, kind of like a Web3 version of SWIFT, the traditional interbank messaging system used by most countries in the world. It's how the US does issue sanctions on countries. It locks them out of SWIFT. So we created, we have no intention of doing that, by the way, but if you encrypted that messaging layer, you now reduce the ability for any of the nodes to front run or any MEV activities. This is a huge solution. We were really excited to be a part of it. And we see CCIP as being, I think, a critical piece of the of Web3 tools for traditional finance and even Web2 companies coming into Web3. Truly, like, you know, it's one of those in the vein of onboarding the next billion users to Web3.
Yeah, definitely. And you, Pedro, when Zaros did join the Build program, and what the advantage that you see, and yeah, can you explain a little bit more about your story between Zaros and the Build program?
Sure. It's been almost a year now, I think. Like, it's been like game changing for us because actually before even building Zaros, I already had a relationship with some of the Chainlink team members because we used to work very closely back at Illuvium, where I worked previously. And then like it was quite natural because as soon as we started, like we figured out Zaros, like we tested in a couple of hackathons and like, hey, we should build this. We already started thinking about the problems that are starting to be solved right now. Like, hey, how do we access, you know, actual low latency data and to be able to execute these orders? You know, where do we find this infrastructure? You know, and then back then, Chainlink data streams. I think it wasn't even called data streams yet. Yeah, it was before the announcement. It was in the early works. So it was really helpful to be close to you guys from the Chainlink team, and like a lot of our architecture and our design choices have been principled on, you know, how data streams was designed. So it was super helpful to work closely with the Chainlink team. Like you guys always help us, you know, like even jump into calls, help us debug some issues we had during our first, you know, live tests on Arbitrum Sepolia. So on the technical side, it's been super helpful. And of course, on all the BD side, getting to know other protocols, other builders, high quality investors from the space. In general, Build has been, you know, a key piece of how we've been building Zaros.
Yeah, and Gab, for you from UPay, I know that it's you announced the Build program recently, but I know because we spoke together, and in the past you were talking with the team for a long time.
But yeah, so I gotta admit, man, to get into build was not easy. Like we met Sam in Paris Blockchain Week like last year, and we're like, okay, we're working on this, and I was actually talking to him about CCIP, where I found like CCIP was if I may say, like, kind of limited on some stuff that I had in mind. And it was like, well, yeah, like, and Sam being Sam, like, we were supposed to be a 5 minute talk, end up talking for 2 hours, like, but like, technically we should do this, we should like we start talking and straight up into like a workshop. And it's like, but you know what? Like, we got a program, it's called Build, and you actually could find all those answers from other projects that people actually also work with. We're like, oh, really? That's interesting, So I started digging a little bit, and I found, like Built was dope. Like I was like, oh, that's definitely a community I want to be a part of. And but for that, like like Sam had to go into the code and this team and stuff like that. There's a lot of back and forth questions, and especially on security. So like Christian, like I understand definitely what you're saying, and because like security was like one of the main thing, and basically before that, before Mupe, I worked on a project to actually avoid being front run. So like I understand a lot of what you're saying because I create technically something also that was helping people avoid being front run. So it was a lot of very interesting talk, and that's what I got from Built so far. Like like people be engaged and ready to help each other. Because one thing that I did not know actually, I did experience myself is actually to be back run. Like front run was one thing, I knew about it, but like back run, I felt it, which was like, what the fuck, like it's more like I was kind of shocked that this could happen, but like, talk to someone else on both program, like, yeah, but it's actually that's really common, and then get into a conversation, and that's how it kind of, I want to say, expand not only your vision, but like your reasoning, like your mind, and your, I would say, like your way of thinking about stuff, and because you're always more smarter as a group of smart people, obviously, and you get knowledge from everyone, and trust me, you can have a PhD and still feel dumb. That's something that is happening. Like it's four of us, and two of us got PhD, but like sometimes we're clueless. And having a community where people been through stuff, where you can understand not only from users but also from other builders, like, yeah, you should do this, like, think about this and stuff like that, got you in the mind of like, well, I'm not alone. Because whoever said they're building something and they want to do it alone, most of the time, either they lying or they will fail. Like nobody really get to success by itself. So being well surrounded is also a path to success, and that's what build, kind of brings into our company so far.
Yeah, I really love the collaboration that we can see between, for sure, Chainlink and the build project, but between build projects too. So when Christian said before that maybe they should stay in touch with Pedro after this call, that's something that we saw a lot in the past month. Two projects working on the same things, or that they can help each other on something. I think that's the power of this build community, and it's really exciting to see.
And then actually another thing that happened that's interesting too in the build program, we partnered with Trueflation, and we're talking, it's another build project, and they do like real feeds about inflation, and now like a ton of influencers use them. You'll see Twitter posts with Trueflation stats and things like that. So we were working with them on a solution for a few weeks, and finally we came to one, and we went, wait a minute, this would actually work for Chainlink. So we brought it up with the Chainlink team, and it's like solution discovery working through build projects as well. It's a kind of a cool effect.
No, totally, exactly. And yeah, Trueflation is one of the first projects that joined the build program. And yeah, I saw a lot of people talking about the index that they share, I think, weekly. So it's really interesting to see that. Gabby, you said something that was really interesting about like the collaboration and the feedback that can help, the feedback from someone else, because when you're building something, you're maybe focused on what you're building and you don't see anything new around you. And I think that's a great advice for all the hackathon attendees. Take feedbacks from people around you, to be sure that you are still building something that is interesting and useful for the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like it's having like a outside vision of what you're building is always interesting. It might not be, making you move forward, but it actually might give you another angle of development. Like to be honest with you, so when we started Moope, we were really focused on B2C because we were like, okay, well, a lot of people can swap multi-token at the same time, and come to we actually had a conversation with Nikki from the on a monthly call. We were talking about BD. Actually, talk about business development and stuff and like that. I was talking to her about getting more people in our community and stuff. And talking to her made us realize that we could also be really impactful on B2B business and helping actually hedge funders and other really crypto based hedge fund. And actually, we came to find out that it was really interesting for them to liquidate wallets, multiple wallets they have at the same time, like every week. And they were like, okay, your solution is actually key. Like we actually need that like now. And we're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So we got into Fidelity and other quite a big name where our solution was really something that could help them and in a way that we were so focused on like, okay, well, B2C might be something good, but like finally, like come to find out that B2B could be also a really powerful, money maker. To be honest.
Yeah. I know that it could be a topic for another workshop. We can talk about it during hours. But I don't know if you have some advices that you can share with the guys here that just start a project now. The idea is maybe just to build something for the hackathon, but it could be a project, a big project, or another successful project in the future. Do you have something to share with them to be sure that they not do mistakes?
Talk about it. That's the one thing I would say. Like talk about it because when you started, I don't know. There's two things when you start creating. This is not my first business, but like at first when you're in a business, like you're really big on a solution. Like okay, I'm gonna create this, and you kind of forget about the distribution. Like who's gonna use it, how they gonna use it. Like is there really like how this project is gonna live without just the solution itself, and just like the how it's gonna maneuver in real life for other people. So sometimes people like, yeah, I don't want to talk about my project. I want to keep it on the low, work on it, and then when I be ready, now you need to like don't wait to be ready. Like just do it and talk about it. You're gonna get feedback, and those feedback actually gonna create the path that you should take to create something that be useful for others. It's not for you actually. You create something out of your mind sometimes, out of your heart, but it's not for you. It's for other people. Just keep this in mind.
Absolutely. Christian or Pedro, anything else on your side?
Yeah, I can jump in. I think general advice right now for any participating in any hackathon, I think for the rest of the year advice would be aware of where we are in the cycle. Previous performance does not guarantee future results, but it does look like we're coming into a bull cycle. And 12 months after a halving, usually number go up technology brings a lot of attention to crypto. And it usually is one of our best shots. If you're in crypto and if you're building it, this is a really great time to get attention from normies and from Web 2 and from, normie retail and institutions. So I think what's also different about this cycle is that the previous few cycles, Bitcoin was solving a problem in the first cycle and from its inception that a lot of people didn't know existed yet, right? So it was early speculators, it was a lot of libertarians, a lot of cypherpunks that were buying it. And then in 2017, I think everyone started to get it. And then in that bull run, we had the dawn of DeFi. DeFi also was in a lot of ways solving problems that people didn't know about. I think this cycle is different because normie retail, Web 2, they've been exposed to crypto. They see the problems with centralized systems. They've seen the problem with, whether it's AI, global banking system. So it's really important, I think, over the next 12 months, if you're building, try to peg what you're building to an incumbent or to a Web 2 company. there's one of the projects we're close with called Privacy, and they do a really great thing in their tagline, their description of all their socials, which they say they're basically a Web3 version of Hugging Face. Well, anybody building AI in Web2 knows what Hugging Face is. So to peg your product to that, and I think this is true too for any hackathon, anything that you're building, peg something that you're building to a Web2 version of yourself, so everybody gets it. It's solving a problem, and you've got a really good chance then, I think, of attracting a lot of attention, because people will get it, and it's solving a problem that even normies and regular people and Web2 companies can understand, and maybe also see the problem, and they'll understand your solution. I think it'd be a great launch pad. So that'd be my advice.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys see something that is not working in Web2 and you can improve it using the blockchain technology, just do it, because you're probably not the only one in that situation. So that's a great advice. Pedro, I don't know if you want to add something on your side.
Yeah, I think Gavin and Christian have gave like really good advice. What I would probably add is, especially for builders, I know like there are opportunities across many verticals in crypto today, but like I see one like narrative or like market niche that still requires a lot of work is building consumer applications. So if you are a developer or you're creating a small team looking for a problem to solve, I think if you look into consumer applications, and not only DeFi, but any consumer type of application today, it should be where you might see a lot of opportunities, because we have a lot of great infra projects. There's still a lot of room for innovation, and we still need to improve the overall infrastructure. And everyone here is working and contributing for this in some degree. But I believe we still need like a lot of talent and good builders building for consumer applications. So that's an advice I would give. Maybe it's not for everyone. Each person has their own preferences and familiarities in this industry. But I'd definitely at least explore, what you could build for overall like retail consumers using crypto.
Definitely. Very interesting. Yeah, thanks. Guys, if you have any questions, just feel free to write that in the chat. We will be able to take that in a few minutes. Just before the end of this call, we talked a lot about what you did in the past. I'm excited to learn more about what's happening, what you are building, and what are the next steps for you. So maybe we can start with you, Gab. What's the plan for the next weeks, month from UPay?
So we really focus on get our community bigger. We probably going to get in contact with more other projects as well, because our solution is helpful and live, and we definitely want to hear our feedback from other builders. And yeah, like we are on track. Like we're probably gonna raise by the end of this year, and we kind of busy right now. We are 4 of us full time, so there's a lot coming.
Awesome. Yeah, I know that you were building a lot. You were really focused on the tech in the past month, year, and now it's time to reach the community and grow your own community. So guys, just have a look on MuPay and follow them on the social networks to be sure that you are aware of the next move.
Yeah, definitely have. Thanks. And again, and definitely gonna look into Zyrus more and Mind. Is that it right? As I say, Mind Network.
Yep.
Mind Network.
Definitely gonna look into it, because I'm curious, just in the heart, so like definitely want to know more.
Yeah, no, I love MuPay too. You guys are definitely on the right track in terms of we're aligned. So keep meeting new potential partners all the time. I'm really glad to be here with you guys. It's good to meet you.
Me too. Appreciate that.
Yes, and guys, thank you so much. Let's definitely have a chat here. I got really interested about your projects. Very, very curious to explore like what collaborations we could work in the future. And on our side, we just launched our public documentation, our sort of light paper. It's live in our website now, so there's all the information about our smart contracts, how Zaros works for liquidity providers and traders. And this month we are launching our public testnet so that users will be able to earn Z points using our Arbitrum Sepolia version. And then we have a lot of upcoming exciting releases over the next few months. We have our mainnet, we're starting our audits soon. So yeah, very excited to be building among such great builders.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool to see this collaboration and connections done in live during a panel like this one. That's really exciting. What's on the roadmap for the next months for you, Christian?
We'll be consensus first of all. So anybody going to consensus, we'll have a side event, and we'll be very active. I'll be there all week. So come by, say hi. You can DM me, find us on Twitter. Would love to link up with anybody interested, or just anybody that wants to grab a coffee or a bite or a beer. We'll be publishing a lot of announcements leading into consensus, new partnership announcements. So you can look out for some AI announcements. We've some restaking, which I didn't go into fully here, but we're doing some work in restaking as well to help secure AVSs. So keep an eye on our socials, Twitter, Discord, Telegram, and we've got great moderators. They're there all the time. Ask any question you want, and you can reach out to anybody on the team that you need just by asking a mod.
Awesome, thank you. Pedro, are you joining any events in the coming weeks, coming months? Where can we join you?
Oh, we're more in the cave at the moment, just building, working on our upcoming launches. We have a lot of work. We are a small team, building fast. But we should be like potentially at ECC, not me, but my co-founder. So we might be there. I think it's on July, right?
Yeah, it's mid-July in Brussels. That's correct.
Yeah. But I like to stay here coding and shipping.
But yeah, we talked about it before. So for the Brazilian community, keep your eyes open. We should make something in Brazil in the coming weeks, month. With Laras. Gab?
That would be great. Yep.
Yep, awesome. Gab, any conference for you?
Might be. I mean, Token 2049 in Dubai was pretty cool. For the next near future, it might be Lisbon, NFC Lisbon, or EVE's FCC in Belgium. One of the two. We actually end of this year, definitely got to Hong Kong as a must. But yeah, we stay in Europe until then.
Yeah, awesome. I didn't see any questions in the chat, so guys, if you have anything, it's the last moment. If not, you can always ping the team directly. I saw that Gao Feng shared the different Twitter account here in the chat. Just before I close the panel, I don't know if you guys want to add something, a last word. Anything that you want from the Chainlink community or the hackathon's attendees here? Christian?
Roman's the man. Build is awesome. And hopefully the winner of the hackathon gets invited into Build. We'd love to see new members.
Yeah, awesome. Clearly, Roman, thanks for the work. Thanks for all the community. And yeah, can't wait to actually see some of the projects from the hackathon. It's always cool to find ideas and listen to what people have to say.
Awesome. Pedro, anything you want to share?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me today, guys. I'm pretty excited to see the hackathon results. So good luck, everyone. And yeah, let's continue building.
Definitely. So you had some great advices from these builders here, guys. So keep in mind everything they said about their experience building a project. And yeah, good luck for your own hackathons project. And yeah, we are excited to have maybe you in a few months in this call as a hackathons winner. So follow these guys on Twitter, and if you have any questions, just always feel free to ping them. It's always really interesting to grow all together and improve this industry. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. Have a good day, a good evening, and talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Spence. Bye-bye.
See you. Thank you.
Bye.